She was a billionaire heiress trapped in a wheelchair, convinced her life was over, until a night janitor knelt beside her in an empty hotel corridor and made an impossible promise. "I'll help you walk again." What Evelyn Hart didn't know was that Marcus Reed carried secrets of his own, a painful past, abandoned dreams, and a guilt that mirrored hers in ways she couldn't imagine. As their pre-dawn therapy sessions turned into something deeper, a vicious rumor would threaten to destroy everything they'd built, forcing them both to choose between fear and trust, between what looked safe and what felt real. But when a suspension, a scheming ex-fiancé, and a controlling mother all conspired to tear them apart, could a janitor and an heiress prove that love and healing were worth fighting for? If you're ready to see how one promise changed two broken lives forever, subscribe right now and tell me where you're watching from in the comments below. The thermos hit the floor with a dull clang, coffee pooling across the polished marble. Evelyn Hart stared at the spreading mess, her hands still trembling from the effort of trying to hold on. "I've got it." She looked up. A man in gray coveralls knelt beside her wheelchair, already mopping the spill with paper towels from his cart. Dark skin, close-cropped hair, maybe 30. She'd never seen him before, but the hotel had dozens of staff she'd never bothered to notice. "I'm sorry," she said. Her voice came out smaller than she intended. "Nothing to apologize for." He collected the thermos, checked it for dents, and set it carefully in her lap. Still good. The hallway was empty, except for them. Past midnight, quiet as a church. Evelyn had been making these late runs to the vending machines on the 3rd floor because she couldn't sleep and wouldn't ask anyone for help. Not anymore. The man stood studying her for a moment. His gaze wasn't pitiful or curious, just steady. "I'll help you walk again," he said. Evelyn's breath caught. She felt heat rise to her face, anger, embarrassment, something sharp. "Excuse me?" "I know it sounds crazy." He pushed his cart aside, leaned against the wall. "But I've done it before. Helped someone close to me get back on her feet after surgery, physical therapy, the real kind, step by step. I don't need—" She stopped herself. The lie wouldn't come. She did need. She needed so badly it kept her up at night. "Tomorrow," he said. "If you're serious, meet me at the community pool on Broad Street. 5 in the morning, before anyone else gets there." "You're a janitor." "Marcus Reed." He held out his hand. After a moment, she shook it. His grip was warm, careful. "And yeah, I clean floors. But I also know how joints work, how muscles compensate, how water takes the weight off so you can start building strength safely." Evelyn wanted to tell him to leave, wanted to wheel herself back to her room and forget this conversation. But something in his voice, calm, certain, not making promises he couldn't keep, made her pause. "Why?" she asked. "Because you dropped your thermos and didn't call for help. Because you're out here alone at midnight trying to do everything yourself." He straightened. "Because sometimes people need someone to believe they can do hard things." She swallowed. 5 in the morning? "If you show up, I'll be there." He walked away, pushing his cart down the corridor, the wheels squeaking softly against the floor. Evelyn sat there for a long time, the thermos cold in her hands. The pool smelled like chlorine and damp concrete. Evelyn arrived at 4:55, her driver waiting in the parking lot with instructions to come back in an hour. The building was dark except for the blue glow from the water. Marcus was already there. So was a woman about Evelyn's age, athletic build, dark braids pulled into a ponytail. She wore scrubs and had a calm, professional air. "This is my sister Nia," Marcus said. "She's a PT aide at Charleston Regional. I asked her to come supervise, make sure we do this right. Nia stepped forward, gave Evelyn a quick smile. Hi. Marcus told me you're interested in aquatic therapy. That's smart. Water's one of the safest ways to start rebuilding strength after injury. Evelyn felt her defenses crumble a little. This wasn't some reckless promise. They'd thought it through. I haven't been in water since the accident, she admitted. 6 months ago. Car crash. What does your doctor say about exercise? Nia asked. To do it. Physical therapy twice a week, stretching at home, but it's... She searched for the word. Humiliating. Everyone treating me like I'm fragile. You're not fragile, Marcus said. You're recovering. There's a difference. Nia helped her into a swimsuit in the changing room, matter of fact and efficient. No pity, no awkwardness. Just practical help. The water was warmer than Evelyn expected. Marcus and Nia guided her down the ramp, the chair left at the edge. At hip depth, Marcus positioned himself in front of her, Nia behind for support. We're just going to see what you can do, he said. No pressure. If something hurts, tell me immediately. Evelyn's legs felt strange in the water, weightless, disconnected. Marcus took her hands. Try to straighten up, he said. Let the water hold you. She pushed against the pool floor, her legs wobbled, muscles screaming. But she rose. Not much, maybe 6 inches, but she was standing. Actually standing. Oh my God, she whispered. You're doing it, Nia said from behind her. Core tight, breathe steady. Evelyn held the position for 5 seconds before her legs gave out. Marcus caught her easily, lowering her back into a sitting position on the submerged bench. Tears stung her eyes. She'd stood. For the first time since the accident, she'd put weight on her legs and they'd held. That's the start, Marcus said quietly. We build from here. They worked for 40 minutes. Simple movements, flexing her feet, bending her knees, leaning her weight forward and back. Nia explained the mechanics, why each exercise mattered. Marcus watched her face, reading pain and fatigue, knowing when to push and when to ease off. By the end, Evelyn was exhausted, but something had shifted inside her chest. A tiny crack in the wall of resignation she'd built around herself. They sat on the pier afterward, coffee from a nearby cart warming their hands. The sun was just starting to rise, painting the harbor gold. Why did you drop out of PT school? Evelyn asked. Marcus took a long sip before answering. Nia got hurt. Skiing accident, messed up her knee pretty bad. She needed surgery, months of recovery. Someone had to work full-time to keep us afloat. I was halfway through the program, but bills don't wait. That must have been hard. It was the right call. He stared out at the water. She'd have done the same for me. Evelyn studied his profile. Strong jaw, tired eyes. A man who made sacrifices without advertising them. What about you? He asked. Why were you driving alone that night? Her stomach tightened. The question she'd been avoiding for months. I was angry. Stupid argument with my mother about wedding plans. I just needed to drive. She didn't mention the rest. The teenager on the bike she'd swerved to avoid. How she'd overcorrected and hit the barrier. How the girl had been okay except for a torn ACL that ended her dance scholarship. How Evelyn still saw her face every time she closed her eyes. Marcus didn't press. They sat in comfortable silence, watching boats move slowly across the harbor. Same time tomorrow? He asked. Evelyn nodded. Same time. Victoria Hart stood in the hotel's marble lobby, her pearl necklace catching the morning light. She'd seen Evelyn return from the pier, damp hair, tired smile, with that man, the janitor. She waited until Evelyn was in her room, then called Gabe Larkin, the hotel's general manager. We need to talk about employee boundaries, she said. Gabe, gray-haired and diplomatic, met her in the executive lounge. He'd run the Hart family hotel for 15 years and knew how to handle delicate situations. "Marcus Reed is a good worker," he said carefully. "Reliable, respectful. What's the concern?" "He's spending time with my daughter outside of work hours." "They're both adults." Victoria's jaw tightened. "My daughter is vulnerable right now. She's living here temporarily because our home isn't accessible. The last thing she needs is complications. From what I understand, he's helping her with exercise, pool therapy. Without credentials, without insurance, without—" Victoria stopped herself. "It's inappropriate." Gabe folded his hands. "I'll keep an eye on it, but unless there's an actual problem, I can't tell employees what they do on their own time." Victoria left unsatisfied. She'd built the Hart family reputation on dignity and discretion. Evelyn falling for the help, no matter how well-meaning, would be a spectacle, and spectacles damaged everything. The second session went even better. Marcus brought resistance bands, showed Evelyn how to work her core while seated. Nia demonstrated proper form, corrected her posture, explained which muscles they were targeting. "Your foundation is stronger than you think," Nia said. "The accident damaged your spine, but you've got good muscle memory. We can work with that." After the pool, they moved to the hotel gym after hours. Marcus had gotten permission from Gabe to use the space when it was empty. Parallel bars stood in the corner, used for balance training. "Try a sit to stand," Marcus said. "I'll spot you." Evelyn gripped the bars. Her arms shook as she pushed up. Her legs barely responded. She made it halfway before collapsing back into the chair. "Again," Marcus said. Not harsh, just firm. She tried again and again. On the fourth attempt, she stood fully for 3 seconds before her knees buckled. "That's progress," Nia said, making notes on her phone. "Every session, we're building neural pathways. Your brain is relearning how to talk to your legs." Evelyn wanted to cry, wanted to laugh, wanted to scream at how slow it all was, how much effort it took to do what used to be automatic. Marcus handed her water. "You're doing great. It doesn't feel great. It will. Give it time." Andrew Pike showed up on Thursday morning. Tall, blonde, expensive suit. Evelyn's ex-fiancé, the man she'd been arguing with the night of the accident. He found her in the hotel's garden courtyard, reading. "Evie." He said her name like a prayer. "I've been worried about you. You've been in Boston for 4 months. Work, you know how it is." He sat on the bench across from her, all polished charm. "Your mother says you're doing physical therapy. That's wonderful. She sent you. She's concerned." He leaned forward. "Apparently, you've been spending time with one of the staff? A janitor?" There it was. Evelyn set her book down. "Marcus is helping me exercise." "Evie, come on. You can hire actual professionals. People with degrees, credentials. Why are you trusting some—" "Be very careful how you finish that sentence." Andrew blinked. "I'm not trying to offend anyone. I'm trying to protect you." "From what?" "From being taken advantage of. This guy sees an opportunity. Rich heiress, vulnerable situation. It's classic." Evelyn felt fury rise in her chest. "You don't know him." "I know his type. Look, let me help. I'll arrange for a proper physical therapist, someone vetted. You don't need to rely on charity from the help. Get out. Evie, get out." Andrew stood, smoothing his suit. "I'm staying at the Regency downtown. Call me when you're thinking clearly." He left. Evelyn sat there, hands clenched in her lap, breathing hard. Marcus had never asked her for anything, never made her feel weak or stupid or like a project. He just showed up, patient and steady, believing she could do hard things. That evening, She told him about Andrew's visit. They were in the hotel gym, finishing their session. Marcus had just guided her through a series of careful stretches. "He thinks you're using me," she said bluntly. Marcus's expression didn't change. He helped her back into her chair, packed up the resistance bands. "What do you think?" "I think he's wrong." "Good." Marcus sat on the bench, met her eyes. "Because I'm here because I made you a promise. Not because of who your family is or what you have." "I know. Do you?" The question hung in the air. Evelyn realized she did know. Somehow, in a week, this man had earned her trust more than people she'd known for years. "Yeah," she said quietly. "I do." Marcus nodded. "Then we're good. Let's keep working." That night, before bed, Evelyn took her phone and typed out a simple exercise routine Marcus had suggested. Ankle rolls, seated core bracing, small things she could do alone. She did them carefully, methodically. Her body ached, but it was the good kind of ache. The kind that meant she was building something. Through her window, she could see the harbor lights reflecting on the dark water. Somewhere out there, the world kept spinning. But here, in this room, she was taking control back. One small movement at a time. The photo appeared online 3 days later. Someone with a phone had caught them at the pool, Marcus steadying Evelyn in the water, her hands on his shoulders, both of them smiling. The angle made it look intimate, romantic. The caption read, "Heart Heiress's new pool boy? Janitor gets cozy with wheelchair-bound socialite." Within hours, it was everywhere. The hotel's social media, local gossip blogs, a Charleston lifestyle magazine picked it up, speculating about Evelyn's mysterious new companion. The comments were vicious. "Gold digger spotted." "She's desperate if she's settling for the help." "He saw a meal ticket and took it." Evelyn read them until her hands shook. Then she threw her phone across the room. Victoria arrived within the hour, Gabe trailing behind her. "This ends now," Victoria said. "No preamble, no sympathy. That man is suspended pending review. The hotel can't afford this kind of publicity." "He didn't do anything wrong." "He crossed professional boundaries. He put you in a compromising position. He helped me stand." Evelyn's voice cracked. "For the first time in 6 months, I stood on my own legs. Because of him." Victoria's face softened for just a moment. Then the steel returned. "There are proper channels for this. Proper people. Not janitors with no credentials who—" "Get out." "Evelyn." "I said get out." Victoria left. Gabe lingered in the doorway. "I'm sorry," he said quietly. "My hands are tied. The board is concerned about liability. Until we sort this out, Marcus can't work here." "You're firing him for helping me?" "Suspending, with pay. It's temporary." "It's wrong." Gabe didn't argue. He just left, closing the door softly. Behind him, Evelyn sat alone in the gathering darkness, tears streaming down her face. Every time she reached for something good, the world found a way to take it away. Marcus's apartment was on the 3rd floor of a tired building near the port. No elevator. Evelyn had to call ahead, wait in the car while he came down. He looked exhausted, dark circles under his eyes, jaw tight. "You shouldn't be here," he said through the car window. "Get in." He hesitated, then climbed into the back seat. Her driver pulled away from the curb, giving them privacy. "I'm sorry," Evelyn said. "This is my fault." "It's not. They suspended you because of me, because someone took a picture and made up a story." Marcus leaned his head back against the seat. "I knew the risks. Your mother warned me. Gabe warned me. I kept going anyway." "Why?" He turned to look at her. "Because you were making progress. Real progress. And I wasn't going to let fear stop that." Evelyn's throat tightened. They think you're using me. Everyone thinks that. I know what I am. What I'm doing. His voice was steady, certain. I don't need strangers to believe me. But you need your job. He didn't answer. That was answer enough. The car pulled into the hotel's private entrance. Marcus opened the door, started to leave. Don't give up on me, Evelyn said quietly. He paused. I haven't. Question is whether you're giving up on yourself. Then he was gone, disappearing into the Charleston night. The next morning, Evelyn requested a meeting with Gabe and her mother. She'd spent the night writing down everything she needed to say, rehearsing it until the words felt solid. They met in the hotel's private conference room. Victoria sat at the head of the table, perfect posture, perfect makeup. Gabe took notes on his tablet, diplomatic as always. I want to be clear about something, Evelyn began. Her voice was steadier than she felt. Marcus Reed has been helping me with physical therapy. With my full consent, under supervision of his sister, who is a licensed PT aide. Every session has been safe, professional, and more effective than the therapy I was getting before. Evelyn, Victoria started. I'm not finished. Evelyn met her mother's eyes. You're worried about appearances, about what people think. But those people aren't living in my body. They don't know what it's like to lose everything you took for granted, walking, independence, privacy. Marcus gave me hope. He gave me a realistic plan, and he never asked for anything in return. Victoria's expression was unreadable. Hope isn't enough when someone gets hurt, when lawyers get involved. Then I'll sign a waiver, whatever you need, but I won't stop working with him because you're afraid of gossip. It's not just gossip, Gabe said carefully. There are genuine concerns about liability, about professional standards. Marcus trained to be a PT aide. He dropped out to support his sister when she got injured. He knows what he's doing. Trained isn't certified, Victoria said. Neither are most personal trainers. Neither are most yoga instructors. People help other people exercise all the time without licenses. Silence fell over the room. Evelyn could see her mother calculating, weighing risk against reward, image against reality. I'll make you a deal, Evelyn said. Let Marcus come back. Let him work his regular job, cleaning, maintenance, whatever. But also, let us continue the therapy sessions. I'll document everything, keep detailed logs, have Nia present for supervision. If after 2 weeks you don't see improvement, I'll stop. I'll do whatever formal therapy you arrange. Victoria looked at Gabe. Something passed between them, a conversation in glances. 1 week, Victoria said finally. Not 2. And everything is documented. Times, exercises, Nia's oversight. The first hint of a problem, it ends. Deal. And Marcus stays on suspension until we're certain this can be done properly. Evelyn wanted to argue, but she'd won something here. She couldn't push too far. Okay, she said quietly. After the meeting, she went back to her room and called Nia. I heard about the suspension, Nia said. Marcus won't talk about it. I'm trying to fix it, but I need your help. What do you need? I need you to document everything we've been doing. Every exercise, every session, every safety measure. Make it official. Show them this isn't reckless. Nia was quiet for a moment. You really care about him? I care about walking again. Right. Nia's tone said she didn't believe that was the whole truth. I'll put together a report, professional format. But Evelyn? Yeah? My brother is proud. This suspension is killing him, not because of money. He's got savings. But because people questioned his integrity. That's the part that hurts. Evelyn understood. She'd spent 6 months having people question whether she was strong enough, smart enough, capable enough to manage her own life. The doubt was worse than the pain. I'll make this right, she said. I hope so. Andrew showed up again that afternoon. Evelyn was in the courtyard doing the seated exercises Marcus had taught her. Ankle rolls, core bracing, careful stretches. I heard about the suspension, Andrew said, settling into the chair across from her. I'm sorry it came to this. No, you're not. I am. I never wanted anyone to lose their job. He watched her exercise with studied concern. But maybe it's for the best. Now you can get proper help. Evelyn stopped mid-stretch. You sent that photo to the blogs, didn't you? Andrew's expression didn't flicker. But something in his eyes, a flash of calculation, told her she was right. That's a serious accusation. You were here the morning before it appeared? You saw us leaving the pool? You had your phone out? Lots of people have phones, Evie. Don't call me that. He leaned forward, voice dropping. You're making a mistake with this guy. He's not in your world. He doesn't understand the pressures, the expectations. You think he's helping you, but really he's helping himself. By doing what? Showing up at 5 in the morning? Working for free? Risking his job? By getting close to money. Andrew said it simply, like it was obvious. That's what guys like him do. They find someone vulnerable, someone grateful, and they position themselves as indispensable. Then they ask for things. Small at first, then bigger. Evelyn felt something cold settle in her stomach. Not because she believed him, but because she could hear how it sounded to people on the outside. A janitor and an heiress, a disabled woman and her helper. The power imbalance was real. The potential for exploitation went both ways. Marcus has never asked me for anything, she said quietly. Yet. Andrew stood, straightening his jacket. I'm at the Regency until Friday. When this falls apart, and it will, call me. I'll help you pick up the pieces. He left. Evelyn sat there, her exercises forgotten. What if Andrew was right? What if she was so desperate for hope that she'd missed something fundamental? Marcus was suspended because of her. His reputation damaged because of her. Maybe she was the one being selfish, pulling him into her mess. Her phone buzzed. A text from Nia. Report done. Sending to you and hotel management. Also, Marcus wants to know if you're doing your home routine. Evelyn looked down at her legs, at her hands, at the resistance band lying forgotten in her lap. She picked it up and kept working. The community pool at dawn. Evelyn went alone this time, her driver helping her into her chair at the entrance. She'd called ahead, paid for a private hour. If she was going to do this, she'd do it right. The water was cold. No Marcus to guide her down the ramp. No Nia to correct her form. Just Evelyn and her stubborn determination. She lowered herself to the pool's edge, slid into the shallow end. The water shocked her system, took her breath, but she pushed forward, finding the underwater bench, positioning herself the way Marcus had shown her. Stand. Core tight. Breathe. She pushed against the pool floor. Her legs trembled, muscles screaming. She made it 6 inches up before collapsing back down. Again. 8 inches. Again. She stood, fully upright, water at her chest, arms out for balance. 5 seconds, 10, 15. Her legs gave out and she dropped back to the bench, gasping. Someone slow clapped from the edge of the pool. Nia sat there in jeans and a jacket, a coffee cup in her other hand. Not bad, but your form is off. You're compensating with your right side. What are you doing here? Driver called me, said you were coming alone. Nia kicked off her shoes, rolled up her jeans, and stepped into the water. You shouldn't do this without a spotter. I don't want to get anyone else in trouble. Too late, I'm already here. Nia moved behind her, placed her hands on Evelyn's shoulders. Now let's do it right. Core, first, then legs. Don't rush it. They worked for 40 minutes. Nia was tougher than Marcus, more clinical. She pushed harder, corrected more sharply. But there was kindness underneath the firmness. "Why are you helping me?" Evelyn asked during a break. "You barely know me." Nia considered the question. "After my accident, I thought I was done. No more running, no more skiing, no more of the things that made me feel alive." Marcus refused to accept that. He learned everything he could about rehab. Spent hours with me in pools just like this one. Fought me when I wanted to give up. "So, you're paying it forward. I'm making sure you don't waste what he's offering?" Nia's gaze was direct, challenging. Marcus doesn't give his word lightly. When he promised to help you walk, he meant it. The question is whether you're brave enough to see it through. Evelyn thought about Andrew's warnings, about Victoria's concerns, about the photo and the rumors and the suspension. "What if everyone's right?" she said quietly. "What if I'm being naive? What if he—" "My brother is many things," Nia interrupted. "Stubborn, private, sometimes too proud for his own good. But he's not a liar, and he's not a user." She paused. "The night you first worked together, he came home so excited I barely recognized him. Said he'd met someone who actually wanted to fight, who wasn't content to just accept limitations." "He said that?" "He said you reminded him of me. That's high praise in Marcus speak." Evelyn felt warmth spread through her chest. She'd spent so long being treated like broken glass that she'd forgotten what it felt like to be seen as strong. "One more round," she said. "Let's try the standing sequence again." Gabe called the meeting for Friday afternoon. Evelyn, Victoria, Marcus, Nia, and the hotel's head of HR gathered in the same conference room where Evelyn had made her plea. Marcus looked tired but composed. He'd dressed in slacks and a button-down, probably the nicest clothes he owned. He nodded to Evelyn but didn't speak. The HR director, a brisk woman named Patricia, reviewed Nia's report on her laptop. "This is thorough. Exercise logs, safety protocols, medical considerations. Everything is documented." "That doesn't address the fundamental concern," Victoria said. "Professional boundaries were crossed." "Were they?" Gabe folded his hands. "Ms. Hart is a hotel guest, not an employee. Mr. Reed's assistance occurred entirely outside of work hours. No hotel resources were used except the gym, which all guests have access to." "The optics are being managed," Patricia interrupted. "We've issued a statement clarifying that Ms. Hart engaged in voluntary fitness activities with a qualified assistant. No hotel policy was violated." Victoria looked like she'd swallowed something bitter. "So he's being reinstated." "With conditions," Gabe said. He turned to Marcus. "Any future sessions must be documented in advance. Nia Reed must be present for supervision, and I want weekly updates on Ms. Hart's progress." "Understood," Marcus said quietly. "There's one more thing." Patricia pulled up something on her laptop, turned it to face Marcus. "We found the source of that photo. It was uploaded from a device registered to Andrew Pike. IP address traces to the Regency Hotel downtown." Silence fell over the room. Evelyn felt her face flush with anger. She'd been right. Victoria's expression shifted. Surprise, then realization, then fury. "Andrew did this? He appears to have taken the photo and submitted it to a Charleston gossip blog with the inflammatory caption, 'We have timestamps and metadata.'" Victoria stood abruptly. "Excuse me, I need to make a phone call." She left. Evelyn wanted to follow, but she was rooted to her chair, mind spinning. "Why would he do that?" she asked. Nia snorted. "Because he wanted Marcus gone, wanted you vulnerable again. Classic manipulation." Marcus still hadn't spoken. He looked at Evelyn with an expression she couldn't quite read. "We're done here," Gabe said. "Marcus, you're back on schedule starting Monday. Evelyn, if you'd like to continue therapy, You have the hotel's full support." The room cleared. Finally, it was just Evelyn and Marcus. "I'm sorry," she said. "I should have known it was him. Should have trusted you from the start." "You didn't know me. Trust takes time." "I know you now." He moved closer, knelt down so they were eye level. "Do you? Because there's something I need to tell you." Her heart hammered. "What?" "The night of your accident, I read about it in the news, about the girl on the bike, the dancer who got hurt." He paused. "That's part of why I approached you. Because I know what it's like to live with guilt, to feel responsible for someone else's pain." Evelyn's breath caught. "What do you mean?" "Nia's accident. The skiing trip was my idea. I pushed her to go on that advanced slope even though she wasn't ready. When she fell, when I saw her lying there..." His voice cracked. "I blamed myself for months. Still do sometimes." "It wasn't your fault." "Wasn't it? I knew she wasn't ready. I pushed anyway." He met her eyes. "Guilt can paralyze you, or it can drive you to make things right. I chose the second option. Spent 2 years making sure Nia recovered, that she got back everything she'd lost. And me? I saw someone drowning in the same guilt I'd felt. Someone who needed to know that one mistake doesn't define your whole life." He touched her hand carefully. "I'm not here because I want something from you, Evelyn. I'm here because I want something for you. Freedom from the chair, sure, but also freedom from thinking you don't deserve to heal." Tears spilled down her cheeks. "The girl from the accident, she lost her scholarship, lost her dream because I was angry and careless." "Have you tried to contact her?" "No, I'm too afraid. What if she hates me? What if she needs to hear that you're sorry, that you think about her?" Marcus's thumb brushed across her knuckles. "Healing goes both ways." Evelyn hadn't thought about it like that. She'd been so consumed by her own guilt that she'd never considered the girl might need closure too. "I don't know if I'm strong enough," she whispered. "You stood in a pool for 15 seconds this morning. You fought your mother for the right to keep trying. You're stronger than you think." He stood, helped her adjust her chair. "Same time tomorrow? Dawn pool session?" She nodded, unable to speak past the lump in her throat. Marcus left. Evelyn sat alone in the conference room, feeling something shift inside her. Not hope exactly, something bigger. Permission. Permission to try, to fail, to hurt, to heal. Permission to be human. That evening, Evelyn found Victoria in the hotel's private lounge, staring out at the harbor. "I spoke with Andrew," Victoria said without turning around. "He denied everything at first. Then when I mentioned the metadata, he hung up." "I'm sorry." "Don't be. I'm the one who should apologize." Victoria finally looked at her daughter. "I was trying to protect you, but I ended up making you feel controlled instead." Evelyn wheeled closer. "I know you're scared. I'm scared too." "You're making progress though. Real progress. I can see it." Victoria's voice was soft, almost wondering. "This Marcus, he's good for you." "He is. I still worry about the optics, about people talking." "Let them talk." Evelyn surprised herself with the conviction in her voice. "I've spent my whole life managing appearances, being the perfect heart daughter. Where did it get me? Engaged to a man who leaked photos to tabloids, isolated in a hotel room, terrified of my own body." Victoria flinched. "I never wanted that for you." "I know, but I need you to let me choose my own path now, even if it's messy, even if it doesn't look like what you imagined." Her mother was quiet for a long moment. Then she nodded. "Okay, but if this young man hurts you..." "He won't." "How can you be sure?" Evelyn thought about Marcus's steady hands guiding her in the water. his patient voice coaching her through pain. The way he'd knelt beside her wheelchair that first night and made an impossible promise. "Because he sees me," she said simply. "Not my family, or my money, or my limitations. Just me." Victoria reached out, touched Evelyn's hand. "Then I'll try to see him that way too." It wasn't a complete resolution, but it was a start. The next morning, at the pool, Marcus brought something new, a walker. "We're adding dry land work," he explained. "You've built enough strength in the water. Time to test it on solid ground." Evelyn's stomach dropped. "I'm not ready." "You are." Nia positioned the walker at the pool's edge. "We're not asking you to run. Just stand. Transfer your weight. Feel what it's like to support yourself." They worked in the water first, warming up her muscles, running through the familiar exercises. Then, carefully, they guided her up the ramp and out onto the pool deck. The walker stood there, aluminum gleaming in the early light. Marcus and Nia helped her position herself. Her hands gripped the walker's handles. Her legs trembled beneath her. "On 3, Marcus said. 1, 2, she pushed up. Her legs screamed, her core shook, but she rose, fully standing, most of her weight on the walker, but her legs bearing enough to feel real. "I'm standing," she gasped. "On land. I'm actually standing." 10 seconds, Nia counted. 15, 20. At 25, Evelyn's legs gave out, but Marcus and Nia were there, lowering her back to the chair with practiced ease. "That's huge," Marcus said, and she could hear genuine pride in his voice. "Huge." Evelyn wanted to laugh and cry at the same time. 25 seconds. It wasn't much, but it was everything. They worked for another 30 minutes, repeating the transfer 3 more times. By the end, Evelyn was exhausted, drenched in sweat, muscles screaming. But she'd stood, on solid ground, with her own legs. "Next session, we try taking weight off the walker," Nia said, making notes. "Just a fraction. See if you can balance." "Small steps," Marcus added. "Literally." As they packed up, Evelyn caught his arm. "Thank you for not giving up on me." "Thank you for showing up," he said quietly. "That's the hard part, showing up every day, even when it hurts." They looked at each other for a moment. Something passed between them, unspoken but understood. This wasn't just about walking anymore. It was about trust. About choosing to be vulnerable with someone who'd earned it. "Coffee?" Marcus asked. "Always." They went to their spot on the pier, watching the sun climb higher over Charleston Harbor. The city was waking up around them. Boats moving, cars passing, people starting their days. Somewhere out there, Andrew was packing to leave town in disgrace. Victoria was learning to let go. Gabe was filing paperwork to make everything official. But here, on this pier, with coffee warming their hands and possibility stretching ahead, Evelyn felt something she hadn't felt in 6 months. She felt like herself again. The walker became Evelyn's constant companion. Marcus brought it to her room, adjusted the height, showed her how to use it safely when he wasn't there. "Don't push too hard," he warned. 5 minutes at a time, Max, and only when someone's nearby. "You sound like my mother." "Your mother isn't wrong about everything." Evelyn practiced every day. 5 minutes in the morning, 5 at night. Just standing, shifting her weight, feeling her muscles remember what they used to know without thinking. Victoria watched from doorways, trying not to hover. Sometimes she'd come in, sit quietly while Evelyn worked. They didn't talk much. But the silence felt different now. Less like judgment, more like solidarity. 2 weeks after the suspension ended, Evelyn stood for a full minute. Not just stood, she lifted one hand off the walker for 3 seconds, balancing with just her core and legs. Marcus was there. So was Nia. They didn't cheer or make a fuss, just marked it in the log and kept working. But later, on the pier, Marcus bought her a chocolate croissant with her coffee. "What's this for?" she asked. "Progress." He sat beside her, close enough that their shoulders almost touched. "You're doing the work. You deserve the reward." The morning was cool, mist rising off the harbor. A few early boats moved through the water, their wakes catching the light. "Can I ask you something?" Evelyn said. "Always." "Why didn't you finish PT school after Nia recovered?" Marcus was quiet for a moment. "Money was part of it, but also, I don't know. I'd built a life around taking care of her. When she didn't need me anymore, I felt lost. Janitorial work was simple, honest, didn't require me to figure out what I wanted. And now?" He looked at her. "Now I think maybe I gave up too easily. Settled for simple instead of fighting for what I actually wanted." "It's not too late." "Maybe." He turned back to the water. "Or maybe this is where I'm supposed to be. Helping when I can, not needing credentials to make a difference." Evelyn understood that. The need to matter, to contribute, to be useful without having to prove yourself first. "You make a difference," she said quietly. "To me." His hand found hers. Just a light touch, fingers brushing together. But it sent warmth flooding through her chest. They sat like that until their coffee went cold. The rumor mill started again in the third week. Not vicious this time, curious. People at the hotel noticed Evelyn moving differently, holding herself straighter, spending less time in her room. A local wellness blogger reached out, asking for an interview about your inspiring recovery journey. Evelyn declined. This wasn't a story yet. Maybe it never would be. Some things were too personal to package for public consumption. But she couldn't stop everyone from noticing. One afternoon, she was practicing in the courtyard, 5 slow steps with the walker, Marcus spotting her, when a hotel guest stopped to watch. Middle-aged woman, expensive jewelry, that particular Charleston blend of money and manners. "Excuse me," the woman said. "I don't mean to intrude, but I have a daughter who was in an accident. She's been in a chair for 8 months. Doctors say she'll never walk again." Evelyn paused, breathing hard from the effort. "I'm sorry. Seeing you work like this, it gives me hope." The woman's eyes were wet. "Would you mind if I told her about you? It might encourage her to try." Marcus started to intervene, but Evelyn touched his arm. "What's your daughter's name?" "Claire. She's 17, spinal injury from a diving accident." "Tell Claire that every day is hard, that progress is slow, and sometimes it hurts so much you want to quit." Evelyn met the woman's gaze. "But also tell her that she's stronger than she knows, and that giving up guarantees nothing changes." The woman nodded, wiping her eyes. "Thank you." After she left, Marcus helped Evelyn back to her chair. "That was kind of you." "It was true." Evelyn's legs trembled from exertion. 6 months ago, I would have given anything for someone to tell me the truth instead of false hope or pity. You're becoming someone's hope now." The thought was overwhelming. Evelyn had spent so long feeling broken that she'd forgotten she could be anything else. Could be strong. Could be an example. "Let's do one more round," she said. They worked until sunset. Victoria arranged dinner in the hotel's private dining room that Saturday. Just the two of them, a quiet meal away from other guests. "I've been thinking," Victoria said over wine, "about what you said, about choosing your own path." Evelyn waited. "I spoke with the board. We're making the hotel fully accessible. Ramps, wider doorways, accessible rooms. It should have been done years ago." "That's good. And I want you to be involved. Not as my daughter who needs accommodations, as a consultant. You know what works and what doesn't." Victoria set down her glass. I'm offering you a position. Director of Accessibility Services. Salary, benefits, real authority to make changes. Evelyn stared at her mother. You're serious? Completely. You have expertise now that I don't. The hotel, the whole Heart portfolio, would benefit from your perspective. It was the kind of offer Evelyn would have dreamed about before the accident. Real work, meaningful contribution, her mother's respect. But something held her back. Can I think about it? She asked. Victoria looked surprised. Of course. Take whatever time you need. Later, Evelyn told Marcus about the offer. They were in the gym, cooling down after a session. She'd managed 3 full steps that night. Actual steps, not just standing transfers, and her legs felt like jelly. That's amazing, Marcus said, handing her water. What are you going to say? I don't know. Part of me wants to jump at it, but part of me wonders if it's just another way for her to control my life. Make me dependent on the family business? What do you want to do? Evelyn realized she didn't have an answer. She'd spent so long reacting to the accident, to her limitations, to other people's expectations, that she'd stopped thinking about her own desires. Before the accident, what did you love? Marcus asked. Riding, horses? The memory came with a sharp ache. I had a mare named Duchess, used to spend hours at the stable, just riding and thinking. Can you still ride? I haven't tried. Assumed it was impossible. Maybe it's not. Marcus pulled out his phone, typed something. There are therapeutic riding programs, adaptive equipment. If it's something you love, it's worth exploring. The idea sparked something in Evelyn's chest. Not hope exactly, something quieter. Curiosity. The sense that maybe her life wasn't as limited as she'd believed. I'll look into it, she said. Marcus smiled. Good. Don't let other people's plans crowd out your own dreams. Nia pulled Evelyn aside after their next session. They were alone in the pool changing room, Nia helping with the logistics of getting dressed. I need to tell you something, Nia said. About Marcus. Evelyn's stomach tightened. What's wrong? Nothing's wrong. But you should know, he's been looking into going back to school, finishing his PT certification. Really? He hasn't told anyone yet. I only know because I found the applications on his kitchen table. Nia met her eyes. Working with you reminded him why he wanted to do this in the first place. Reminded him he's good at it. That's wonderful. It is, but it's also going to be hard. PT school is expensive, time-consuming. He'll probably have to cut his hours at the hotel, maybe leave completely. Nia paused. I'm telling you because I think he won't. I think he'll put it off to keep helping you. And I don't want him to sacrifice his future out of some misplaced sense of obligation. Evelyn felt like she'd been punched. He'd do that? In a heartbeat. That's who he is. Nia's voice softened. You two have become close. I see how he looks at you, how you look at him. But you need to be honest about what this is and where it's going. Because if Marcus thinks you need him, he'll stay, even if it costs him everything. After Nia left, Evelyn sat in the changing room for a long time, thinking. She'd been so focused on her own recovery that she hadn't considered what it might be costing Marcus. The hours he spent with her were hours he wasn't working, wasn't studying, wasn't building his own future. She cared about him. More than cared, if she was honest. But was that fair? Was it right to build something with him when their whole relationship was rooted in her dependence? That night, she lay awake thinking about it, about the way Marcus's hand felt in hers, the way his voice could calm her panic, the way he believed in her even when she didn't believe in herself. But also about the applications on his kitchen table, the dreams he'd deferred, the life he deserved to build. The next session, Evelyn was quiet. Marcus noticed immediately. "What's going on?" he asked as they worked through warm-ups in the pool. "Nia told me about PT school." His hands stilled on her shoulders. "She did? Why didn't you tell me?" "Because it's not relevant. Right now, what I need is for you to live your own life." Evelyn turned to face him. "Not put everything on hold for me?" "I'm not." "You are, and I appreciate it more than I can say. But Marcus, you have a gift. A real gift for this work. You should be doing it professionally, not just sneaking around hotel pools at dawn." He was quiet for a long moment. Water lapped gently around them. "I applied," he admitted finally, "to 3 programs. Haven't heard back yet." "When you do, you should go." "And leave you?" "I'm not going to fall apart without you." The words came out sharper than she intended. "I'm stronger now. You made sure of that." Marcus looked hurt. "I'm not doing this because I think you're weak." "Then why?" "Because—" He stopped himself, took a breath. "Because somewhere along the way, this stopped being just about therapy, and I don't know what to do with that." Evelyn's heart hammered. They were finally saying it out loud, the thing that had been building between them for weeks, the looks that lasted too long, the touches that lingered, the conversations that went deeper than patient and helper. "I don't know either," she said quietly. "Your mother would never approve." "Probably not. People would say I'm using you, that I helped you so you'd feel obligated. People can think whatever they want." Evelyn moved closer. "I know the truth." "What's the truth?" "That you're the first person in 6 months who treated me like I was whole. Who saw past the chair and the damage and the fear." She swallowed hard. "And that I've fallen for you. Somewhere between the pool and the pier and the parallel bars, I fell." Marcus's eyes were dark, intense. "Evelyn." "But I won't be the reason you give up your dreams. I won't let you sacrifice PT school for me. If you get accepted, you go. We figure out the rest from there." "What if I don't want to go?" "Then you're lying to yourself." The words hung between them. Finally, Marcus nodded slowly. "You're right," he said. "I do want it. I've wanted it for years." "Then fight for it, the way you taught me to fight." They finished the session in near silence, the weight of everything unsaid pressing down on them. But as Evelyn was leaving, Marcus caught her hand. "For what it's worth," he said quietly. "I fell too." Then he was gone, back to the pool to clean up, and Evelyn sat in her chair, heart racing, wondering what came next. 2 days later, Marcus got the call. He'd been accepted to a PT program starting in January, full-time, 18 months, financial aid package included. He told Evelyn in the hotel courtyard. She was practicing with the walker, taking slow, careful steps along the brick path. "That's amazing," she said, meaning it. "I'm so proud of you." "It's in Colombia, 2 hours away. We'll figure it out." "Will we?" He moved closer. "Because I've been thinking about what you said, about not sacrificing dreams. And I realize I want both, the degree and you, but I don't know if that's realistic." Evelyn lowered herself back into her chair, breathing hard. "What if we just take it one day at a time? Keep working together until January, then see where we are. That's 3 months. 3 months to make sure I can stand on my own, literally and figuratively." She met his eyes. 3 months to see if this is real or just circumstantial. Marcus knelt down, took her hands. "It's real for me. I need you to know that. This isn't about proximity or gratitude or any of the things people might say. It's real." "Then prove it by going to Colombia, by building the life you're meant to have. If we're still this at the end of 3 months, distance won't change it. He studied her face for a long moment, then nodded. Okay, 3 months. We work, we see where it leads, and I go to school in January. Deal. They shook on it, formal and a little awkward. Then Marcus pulled her into a hug, careful of her balance, and Evelyn let herself lean into him. I'm going to miss you, she whispered. I'm not gone yet. But they both knew everything had changed. The clock was ticking now. 3 months to prepare for a future that might not include daily sessions, morning coffee, stolen moments on the pier. 3 months to become strong enough to stand alone. Victoria found Evelyn later that evening, reading in the lounge. Marcus is leaving, Victoria said without preamble, in January, for PT school. And you're okay with this? Evelyn closed her book. I encouraged it. He deserves to finish what he started. Victoria sat down, studied her daughter. You care about him? I do. More than care. Yes. Does he feel the same? He says he does. Victoria was quiet for a moment. I won't pretend to understand. A janitor and my daughter? It's not what I imagined for you. But I also can't deny what I've seen these past few months. You're different, stronger, happier. He's a good man, Mom. I know. Victoria's voice was soft. I can see that now. But Evelyn, you need to be realistic. Long distance, different worlds, the complications. I know all of that. But for once I want to choose something because it makes me happy. Not because it makes sense. Victoria reached over, squeezed her hand. Then I hope it works out, truly. It wasn't enthusiastic approval, but it was acceptance. And for now, that was enough. The sessions intensified over the next few weeks. Marcus pushed harder, knowing their time was limited. Evelyn rose to meet the challenge, working through pain and fatigue. She could stand for 5 minutes now. Could take 10 steps with the walker. Could transfer from chair to walker and back without help. One morning at the pool, Nia removed one of the walker's support bars. Try it, she said. Less stability, more independence. Evelyn gripped the single bar. Her legs trembled as she stood. The walker wobbled under her uneven weight, but she held steady. Walk, Marcus said from a few feet away. To me. She took one step, then another. The walker dragged a bit, catching on the pool deck. But she kept moving. 3 steps, 4, 5. She reached Marcus and he caught her, steadying the walker, his hands warm on her arms. You did it, he said, and his voice was rough with emotion. We did it. They stood there, close enough to kiss. Evelyn could see gold flecks in his dark eyes, could feel his breath on her face. I'm going to miss this, he said quietly. These mornings, these moments. Me too. But I'll call every day, video chat the exercises, make sure you're keeping up the routine. Marcus. Yeah? Kiss me. He did, soft and careful, his lips warm against hers. It was brief, appropriate for a semi-public space, but it sent electricity racing through Evelyn's whole body. When they pulled apart, Nia was making exaggerated gagging noises from the pool edge. You two are disgusting, she called. Also adorable, but mostly disgusting. They laughed, and for a moment, everything felt simple. Good, right. But reality waited at the edges, the calendar turning toward January, the distance that would soon separate them. The uncertainty of what came next. Evelyn pushed the worry aside. Today, she'd walked 5 steps. Today, she'd kissed the man she loved. Today was enough. Tomorrow could wait. October slipped into November. The Charleston air turned crisp, morning mists lasting longer over the harbor. Evelyn added a jacket to her dawn routine. She could walk 20 steps now, sometimes 25 on good days. The walker was lighter, easier to control. Her legs remembered more each session. But something else was happening too. She was pulling away from Marcus, just slightly. Building walls, she told herself, were necessary. He noticed. Of course, he noticed. "You're quiet lately," he said one morning after their session. They sat on the pier, coffee warming their hands like always. But the silence between them felt heavier. "Just tired." "Evelyn." She looked at him, at his patient, knowing eyes. "I'm preparing for when you leave." "By pushing me away now?" "By remembering how to stand on my own." She turned back to the water. "You won't be here in 2 months. I need to be ready for that." Marcus was quiet for a long moment. "I thought we were doing this together. Until January." "We are. But I can't let myself need you too much. It's not fair to either of us." "What if I want you to need me?" The question hung in the morning air. Boats moved across the harbor. A gull cried overhead. "That's the problem," Evelyn said softly. "We got tangled up in this. You helping me depending on you. Now we can't tell what's real and what's just circumstance." "I know what's real." "Do you?" "Because I look at us and I see a caretaker and a patient. I see someone who made a promise and someone who was desperate enough to believe it." She swallowed hard. "What if we're just playing roles? What if when I can walk and you're gone, there's nothing left?" Marcus set down his coffee, turned to face her fully. "You really believe that?" "I don't know what I believe anymore." He stood, walked to the pier's edge, stared out at the water. Evelyn watched his shoulders rise and fall with breath. "My whole life," he said finally, "people have underestimated me. Janitor, dropout, guy who couldn't finish what he started. I got used to being invisible. Just the help, not someone who mattered." He turned back to her. "Then I met you. And for the first time in years, I felt like I had something real to offer. Not just cleaning floors or taking out trash. Something meaningful." His voice roughened. "So, yeah, maybe it started with a promise. With me wanting to help. But somewhere along the way, it became about wanting to be near you. To hear you laugh. To watch you fight. Not because you needed me, but because I needed you." Evelyn's eyes burned. "Marcus, I'm going to Colombia in January. That's happening. But don't tell me this isn't real. Don't reduce what we've built to roles and circumstances." He moved closer. "You're not my patient, and I'm not just your helper. We're two people who found each other in the middle of hard things and decided to try." "What if trying isn't enough?" "Then we'll find out. But pushing me away now doesn't protect either of us. It just wastes the time we have left." Evelyn sat with that, with the truth of it. She'd been so afraid of getting hurt that she'd started hurting them both preemptively. "I'm scared," she admitted. "Me too." "What if I fall apart when you leave?" "You won't. You're too stubborn." He knelt beside her chair. "And if you do struggle, you call me. You lean on Nia. You use the tools we've built, but you don't quit." She touched his face. "You really believe in me, don't you? More than you believe in yourself sometimes." They kissed then. Longer this time. Deeper. Not desperate or rushed. Just honest. Two people choosing each other despite the complications. When they pulled apart, the sun had climbed higher. The morning was moving on. "Let's make the most of these 2 months," Evelyn said. "No more walls, no more preparing to lose each other. Deal." They shook on it, smiling, and for the rest of that day, Evelyn let herself hope. The letter arrived in mid-November, a cream-colored envelope, expensive paper, Evelyn's name written in careful handwriting. She opened it in her room, hands shaking. "Dear Miss Hart, My name is Jasmine Torres. You don't know me, but you changed my life on March 15th of this year. I was the girl on the bike. Evelyn's vision blurred. She had to stop, breathe, before she could keep reading. I want you to know that I don't blame you for what happened. The accident was just that, an accident. You swerved to avoid me. You could have hit me and didn't. My knee injury was bad. And yes, I lost my dance scholarship. But I'm alive, and I'm healing. I'm writing because my physical therapist told me about you. About how you're in a wheelchair now because of that night. About how you've been working so hard to walk again. She thought maybe we could help each other. I've been angry for months, angry at you, at the world, at my knee. But anger doesn't fix anything. It just keeps us stuck. So I'm trying something different. I'm trying forgiveness. For you and for myself. If you ever want to talk, I'd be open to that. No pressure, just an offer. One person in recovery to another. Jasmine. She'd included a phone number at the bottom. Evelyn read the letter 3 times. Then, she called Marcus. He came to her room within minutes, still in his work coveralls. She handed him the letter without speaking. He read it slowly, carefully, then looked at her with gentle eyes. What do you want to do? I don't know. Part of me wants to call her right now. Part of me never wants to speak to her because what if I make it worse? What does your gut say? Evelyn closed her eyes, listened to the quiet voice underneath the fear. That she's offering me something I've been desperate for, permission to stop hating myself. Then call her. What do I even say? Marcus sat on the edge of her bed. The truth, that you're sorry, that you think about her, that you're trying to heal too. It sounded so simple, but simple wasn't easy. Evelyn picked up her phone, put it down, picked it up again. Do you want me to stay? Marcus asked. Please. She dialed before she could change her mind. The phone rang twice, then a young voice answered. Hello? Jasmine, this is Evelyn Hart. Silence, then softly. Hi. I got your letter. Thank you for sending it. I wasn't sure if you would respond. I wasn't sure either. Evelyn's throat was tight. Jasmine, I'm so sorry. I know that's not enough. I know it doesn't fix anything, but I need you to know. I think about you every day, about what I took from you. You didn't take anything on purpose. That doesn't make it better. Maybe not, but it makes it different. Jasmine's voice was surprisingly steady. I was angry for a long time. Felt like my whole life ended because you were careless. But then I realized you lost things too. Different things, but real things. We're both just trying to put our lives back together. Evelyn wiped her eyes. How's your knee? Getting better. Slow, but better. I probably won't dance professionally, but I'm thinking about choreography now. Teaching. Different dreams, not worse. Just different. That's beautiful. What about you? Are you really walking again? Working on it. I can go about 25 steps with a walker. Some days more, some days less. That's amazing. Jasmine sounded genuinely happy. Keep going. Don't give up. They talked for 30 minutes. About recovery, about pain, about the strange guilt that comes with surviving when life changes in an instant. By the end, Evelyn felt lighter. Not healed, that would take longer, but less alone. Can I call you again? Evelyn asked. Maybe we could check in with each other, share progress. I'd like that. After they hung up, Evelyn sat quietly. Marcus waited, patient as always. She forgave me, Evelyn said finally. Just like that, she forgave me. Maybe she needed to as much as you needed to hear it. I don't deserve her kindness. Probably not, but that's what makes it grace. Marcus touched her hand. You can carry guilt forever, or you can accept the gift she's offering. Your choice. Evelyn thought about Jasmine's words. Different dreams, not worse. Just different. Maybe that was true for her too. She'd never be the person she was before the accident. But maybe she could be someone new, someone stronger because of the breaking, not despite it. I'm going to turn down my mother's job offer, she said suddenly. Marcus looked surprised. Really? I've been thinking about what you asked, about what I loved before. And the answer isn't hotels or accessibility consulting. It's horses, being outside, working with animals. So do that. I called a therapeutic riding center last week. They're looking for volunteers. People to help with their adaptive programs. She smiled. I figured if I'm learning to walk again, maybe I can help other people learn to ride. Evelyn, that's perfect. It's terrifying, but it's mine. Not my mother's plan or anyone else's expectation. Just something I want. Marcus pulled her into a hug. I'm proud of you. For what? For choosing yourself, for building something new instead of trying to recreate what was. They held each other in the quiet room, afternoon light slanting through the windows. And Evelyn felt something settle inside her chest, a sense of rightness she hadn't felt in months. Thanksgiving came. Victoria insisted on a small dinner in the hotel's private dining room. Just family, which now somehow included Marcus and Nia. Victoria had surprised everyone by inviting them personally. You've been part of Evelyn's recovery, she'd said. That makes you family. The meal was elegant but comfortable. Victoria asked Marcus about PT school, about his plans. She listened, really listened, without judgment. You'll be good at it, she said. I've seen how you work with Evelyn. Patient, thorough, encouraging without being condescending. That's rare? Marcus looked genuinely touched. Thank you, Mrs. Hart. Victoria, please. We're past formalities. After dinner, they moved to the courtyard. Evelyn had been practicing here for weeks, and she wanted to show her mother something. She positioned herself with the walker. Marcus and Nia stood nearby, ready to spot, but not hovering. Watch, Evelyn said. She stood, steady, balanced. Then she lifted her right hand off the walker. 5 seconds, 10. Her left hand gripped tight, but she was doing it, standing mostly on her own. Then she took a step. Just one, but clean. Her foot lifted, moved forward, planted. Weight shifted smoothly. Victoria's hand flew to her mouth. Tears gathered in her eyes. Evelyn, she whispered, that's incredible. That's 3 months of work. Evelyn lowered herself back to the chair, breathing hard but smiling. 3 months of showing up, of trusting the process, of believing I could do hard things. Victoria crossed to her daughter, knelt beside the chair. I'm so proud of you. Not just for walking, for fighting, for choosing yourself. They hugged. Evelyn couldn't remember the last time they'd embraced like this, honest, without performance or expectation. Just a mother and daughter finding their way back to each other. Later, after Victoria and Nia had gone inside, Evelyn and Marcus sat in the courtyard watching stars appear overhead. January's coming fast, Evelyn said quietly. 6 weeks. Are you ready? For school? Yes. For leaving you? No. She leaned her head on his shoulder. We'll make it work. Long distance is hard. So is rehab. We've done hard things before. Marcus wrapped his arm around her. I love you. You know that, right? Evelyn's breath caught. They'd danced around it for weeks, but neither had said the words directly. I love you too, she said. Which is why I want you to go. To build your life. To become everything you're meant to be. And us? We figure it out as we go. Video calls, weekend visits, texts when we miss each other? She turned to look at him. It won't be easy, but it'll be real. Real is all I want. They kissed under the stars, the courtyard quiet around them, and Evelyn felt something she hadn't felt in months, absolute certainty. This was right. He was right. They were messy and complicated and maybe didn't make sense on paper. But they made sense to each other. That was enough. December brought cold mornings and earlier sunsets. The sessions continued, steady and disciplined. Evelyn was up to 40 steps now, sometimes 50 on good days. Nia prepared a detailed home program, exercises Evelyn could do alone, modified routines for when Marcus wasn't there. They video recorded everything, created a reference library. You've got this, Nia said during their last session together. You don't need us anymore, not really. I'll always need you both. No, you'll want us, that's different. Nia smiled. Want is choice, need is dependence. You've moved from one to the other. Evelyn hugged her. Thank you, for supervising, for pushing me, for not letting me give up. Thank Marcus, he's the one who believed first. On Christmas Eve, Evelyn gave Marcus a gift, a leather journal with his initials embossed on the cover. For PT school, she said, to record what you learn, to remember why you're doing this. He opened the first page. She'd written an inscription. To Marcus, you promised you'd help me walk again. You kept that promise and so much more. Now go keep the promise you made to yourself. All my love, Evelyn. He looked at her with shining eyes. I don't know what to say. Say you'll call me, every day. Every day, he promised. His gift to her was simpler, but somehow perfect. A small silver compass on a chain. So you always know which direction you're headed, he said as he fastened it around her neck. Even when things get hard. It's beautiful. You're beautiful, inside and out, and I need you to remember that when I'm not here to remind you. They held each other in the hotel lobby, Christmas lights twinkling around them, knowing their time together was running out. New Year's Eve. The hotel threw a party, but Evelyn and Marcus skipped it. Instead, they went to their pier, to the place where they'd shared so many quiet mornings. Evelyn stood with her walker, looking out at the dark water. The city sparkled behind them, fireworks already starting in the distance. Next year at this time, you'll be halfway through PT school, she said. And you'll be volunteering at the riding center, maybe walking without the walker. Maybe. Marcus moved behind her, wrapped his arms carefully around her waist. She leaned back into him, solid and warm. I'm scared, he admitted, of losing this, of distance changing things. Me too, but Marcus... She turned in his arms, the walker steady between them. You gave me my life back, my hope, my belief that I could be whole again. That's not something distance can take away. I didn't do anything. You did the work. We did it together. She touched his face. And we'll do the next part together too. Just differently. The fireworks started in earnest now. Brilliant colors painting the sky, reflected in the harbor water. People cheered from nearby boats and rooftops. Happy New Year, Marcus said softly. Happy New Year. They kissed as the old year died and the new one was born. And Evelyn felt it. The shift. The closing of one chapter, the opening of another. January 15th, moving day. Marcus's apartment was mostly packed, his car loaded with boxes. PT school started in 3 days. Evelyn came to say goodbye. She'd brought her walker, determined to do this standing. They stood in his empty living room, years of his life packed into a dozen boxes. This is it, he said. This is it. I'll call tonight, as soon as I'm settled. I know. And I'll come back every other weekend. Or you can visit Colombia. Whatever works. Marcus? She touched his hand. It's okay. You're allowed to be excited about this. I am excited, but I'm also... I know. She did know, could see it in his eyes. The wanting to stay and the needing to go, both true at once. She took a breath. Then, carefully, she let go of her walker. For 3 seconds, she stood completely unsupported. Just her legs, her core, her will. No devices, no help. Just Evelyn, standing on her own. Then Marcus caught her as her legs started to shake. But she'd done it. Proved what she needed to prove. You walked into my life, she said. Now I can walk through it. That's your gift to me. So go, build your future. And when you're ready, come back. I'll always come back to you. I know. She smiled through tears. Now go before I change my mind and beg you to stay. One last kiss. Long and sweet and full of promise. Then Marcus picked up his final box and walked to his car. Evelyn watched from the doorway as he drove away. Watched until his car disappeared around the corner. Then she turned back to her walker, gripped it tight, and began the long journey back to the hotel. One step at a time, just like he'd taught her 3 months later. The therapeutic riding center was busy on Saturday mornings. Evelyn worked with a group of kids, some in wheelchairs, some with other disabilities. She helped them mount, taught them basic horsemanship, watched them discover freedom in the saddle. She could walk 100 steps now without the walker. Sometimes more. She used a cane mostly, but some days she didn't need anything at all. Marcus called every night like he'd promised. They video chatted during his study breaks. He sent pictures from his anatomy classes, stories about his instructors. He was thriving, exactly where he needed to be. But he missed her. She could hear it in his voice. And she missed him. Every morning at dawn, every time she saw the pier, every step she took. On a warm April morning, Evelyn was helping a young girl named Sophie onto a gentle mare when someone called her name. She turned. Marcus stood at the riding center entrance, a backpack over his shoulder, that quiet smile on his face. You're not supposed to be here until next weekend, Evelyn said, her heart hammering. I finished my exams early. Thought I'd surprise you? She walked to him. No cane, no walker, just her own 2 legs carrying her across the stable yard. It wasn't graceful, it wasn't fast, but it was movement, it was progress, it was triumph. She reached him, and he caught her, lifted her slightly, held her close. Look at you, he whispered. Walking. Look at you, almost a certified PT. We did it. We did. They pulled apart just enough to see each other's faces. Marcus's eyes were bright, proud, full of love. I have something to tell you, he said. I applied for an internship in Charleston this summer. Found out yesterday I got it. You're coming back? If you want me to. Evelyn laughed, the sound bright and free. Want you to? Marcus, I've been counting down the days. Me too. They kissed there in the stable yard, surrounded by horses and volunteers and kids learning to ride. It wasn't perfect. They still had challenges ahead. His school schedule, her continued recovery, the normal complications of any relationship. But they'd learned something important. That love wasn't about being easy. It was about showing up, about doing hard things together, about believing in each other when belief was difficult. Evelyn pulled back, took Marcus's hand. Come on, I want to show you something. She led him to the stable, to a chestnut mare with kind eyes. This is Duchess, my horse from before the accident. I've been working with her again, getting back in the saddle. Have you ridden yet? Not yet. Been too scared. She looked at him. But maybe today, if you'll spot me. Marcus smiled, that steady, patient smile she'd fallen in love with. Always. With help from the stable manager, They got Evelyn mounted. It took time, careful positioning, but finally she was up, sitting in the saddle, Duchess standing calm and steady beneath her. Marcus held the lead rope, ready to guide them, but Evelyn shook her head. "Let go," she said. "I've got this." He released the rope. Evelyn gathered the reins, took a breath, and gently pressed her legs against Duchess's sides. The mare walked forward, slow, measured steps, and Evelyn rode her, balanced, confident, free. Around the ring they went, once, twice. Marcus watching from the center, his expression full of pride and love and joy. When she finally stopped, he helped her dismount. She slid into his arms and he held her, both of them laughing, both of them crying a little. "You did it," he said. "Everything you said you would. You walked, you rode, you built a whole new life." "We did it," she corrected. "Together." "Together," he agreed. They stood there in the April sunshine, two people who'd found each other in darkness and chosen to walk toward the light. It hadn't been easy. It hadn't been simple, but it had been real. And real, they'd discovered, was always worth fighting for. 6 months later, Evelyn stood at the front of a small conference room in the Charleston Community Center. No wheelchair, no walker. Just her, standing on her own 2 legs, addressing a group of recent accident survivors. "I'm not going to tell you it's easy," she said. "Because it's not. Some days you'll want to quit. Some days the pain will be so bad you'll wonder why you're even trying." She paused, found Marcus in the back row. He'd finished PT school, passed his boards, started working at Charleston Regional, Nia's department. They were building something together, personal and professional, messy and beautiful. "But I'm also not going to tell you it's impossible," Evelyn continued. "Because it's not. With the right help, the right support, the right determination, you can build a life you never imagined. Different from before, maybe, but not less. Just different." She told them her story, the accident, the guilt, the despair. Meeting a janitor who made an impossible promise. Learning to stand, to walk, to hope again. "Someone believed in me when I couldn't believe in myself," she said. "That's what made the difference. Not physical therapy, or expensive equipment, or medical intervention. A person who saw past my limitations and said, 'You can do this.'" After the talk, people came up to shake her hand, ask questions, share their own stories. A woman in a wheelchair, maybe 30, lingered at the end. "Thank you," the woman said. "I've been in this chair for 8 months. Doctors say I'll never walk again?" Evelyn heard her own voice from a year ago. The desperation, the resignation. "What do you say?" she asked. The woman blinked. "I'm sorry?" "What do you say to the doctors who tell you never?" A pause, then quietly. "I don't know yet." "That's okay. You don't have to know." Evelyn knelt down, looked her in the eyes. "But when you're ready to find out, call me. I know someone who can help." She handed the woman her card. On the back, Marcus's name and number. A PT who specialized in rehabilitation, who understood hope and hard work in equal measure. The woman took the card, studied it. "Is there really a chance?" "There's always a chance, if you're willing to fight for it." Outside, the Charleston evening was warm and bright. Marcus waited by his car, scrolling through his phone. He looked up when Evelyn approached, smiled that smile she loved. "How'd it go?" he asked. "Good. I think I helped some people." "I'm sure you did." He pulled her close, kissed her forehead. "Dinner at the pier?" "Always." They drove through the familiar streets to their spot, the place where they'd shared so many quiet mornings, so many cups of coffee, so many conversations that changed everything. They sat on the pier watching the sun set over Charleston Harbor. Marcus's arm around her shoulders, Evelyn's head on his chest. Two people who'd learned that healing was never a straight line. That love required showing up even when it was hard. That strength came from vulnerability, not from pretending nothing could break you. "I've been thinking," Marcus said, "about opening a practice, specializing in recovery from major injuries. A place where people can come and not feel like they're just another patient." "That's beautiful. Would you want to be involved? Maybe coordinate the adaptive writing program? Create a comprehensive recovery model?" Evelyn smiled. "Are you asking me to work with you?" "I'm asking you to build something with me. Something that matters." She turned to look at him. At this man who'd kept an impossible promise, who'd helped her walk when everyone else said never, who'd loved her through darkness into light. "Yes," she said simply. "Let's build something together." The sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky gold and pink and purple. The harbor gleamed like glass. The city hummed with evening life, and two people sat on a pier, planning their future, one small, faithful action at a time. Because that's how healing happens. That's how love grows. Not in grand gestures or miraculous moments, but in the quiet choice to keep showing up, to keep believing, to keep walking forward, even when the path is uncertain. One step at a time. Together, the end.